Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Phil, the Connector Herrington. Now, Phil and I met a few weeks ago on an online thing. I think I first remember seeing him in a Pitch 59 group thing. And then I saw him in the Selling on the Spot group thing. And then I saw him in this other place and I went, okay, universe, I get the sign. And he and I had a private conversation and I said, Phil, you gotta come on the show and talk about this. So let me tell you a little bit about Phil. Phil Herrington is called the Connector. He's a Christian family man with a passion for bringing good people together. When he's not busy connecting folks in the business world, you'll find him enjoying the great outdoors with his wife and 5 kiddos, tending to their chickens or gathering round a roaring campfire. He believes in the power of relationships and that we're all just one connection away from something amazing. So he wants to get connected and see what miracles we can all make together. Phil, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, I am super excited because like I said, I saw you in a few different places and I'm a big believer that when I see something or something captures my attention at least 3 times in a very short period of time, it's the universe's way of going, pay attention.
It's like when they send the boat by 3 times and then the guy ends up in.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't you save me? I sent the boat by 3 times.
Exactly. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a boat. I said, like, yes. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that's the story of the man who was flooded out of his house and he's standing on his rooftop praying to God to save him and all these different things happen. He goes, no, God will save me. And then gets to heaven and why didn't you save me? And God says, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a this. Like, yeah. Like, you didn't see the sign, right? So I saw the sign. We were networking in a few different places together. But how did you become the Connector, right? Because that's kind of it. That's a big moniker right there.
Yeah. Well, I've been in sales my whole life. So I come from cold calling, door-to-door sales, telemarketing, car sales, you name it, I've sold it, but all those things. And I loved it. I knew it all. Sales is all about numbers. So I'm like, just go, right? And so in 2018, though, I found business networking like this, right? You go to the BNI meetings, you talk about all that stuff. And I was like, what the heck? Everybody will do a one-to-one. What's this one-to-one thing? And so what's the hardest thing for a salesperson to get is someone to listen to them for even 5 minutes, right? So I'm like, let's go. I did 4,000 one-to-ones in 6 years. I literally had people coming in to the coffee shop every hour on the hour. So then I started to see patterns and I'd be like, oh, you're in wellness or you're in whatever, you should meet all these other people that are in wellness. So unbeknownst to me, I was creating power teams. And so Phil the Connector came along and it stuck. I just said, okay, put on my business card and it stuck. And all the different businesses I went through the last 6 years, that's the one thing that stuck.
Oh, that's so smart. And so recently in the past, year or so, you've actually started an online group called the Connector Community.
Tell me
more about that.
Okay, yeah, we're so blessed. We had it, our first customer was April 16th of this year, so we're about 5 months old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're really new.
Really new. Okay.
So the brand...
I love being in on the ground floor.
Yeah, exactly. This is a ground floor opportunity. So the brand has been built for the last 6 years, but then we decided to formulate it into a community.
As in,
And the best way to describe it, we just hit 190 members this morning, which is very exciting. But all these people will talk to you. So there's a lot of times when you join a group or you join a Facebook group or a Lineable or whatever, none of those people are going to talk to you.
mhm.
It's more like you're bugging them. All
Yeah.
these people, it's like my Rolodex. So all these people are willing to have a conversation because I've cultivated these relationships over years. And so it's very exciting because you can come in here and meet like family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I love that. And so, and this connector community is not being held on social media, although you do have a social media aspect of things, but the actual community itself, well, before we jump into that, into the tech of it, who are the people who have come into the community so far? Like, what are you seeing in terms of the types of people who are showing up in terms of businesses?
Oh, great question. So I'm here in Boise, Idaho. So a lot of local trades businesses got involved early on because I had some good relationships with them when I was first networking. So we have like about half our community. Now it's getting a little bit less. I would say like 40% of the community is Boise. And then anybody that can do business nationwide, whether that be they sell courses or they do websites or they, whatever they can do that's nationwide, bookkeepers, all that stuff. And a lot of businesses, as we were talking about before, since COVID has transitioned to nationwide, right?
Yeah.
They figured out a way to pivot to do their business nationwide. About, I would say 60% of our members are nationwide type services.
And are you able to go international? Because we do have some, I do have some Canadian listeners in UK and some Australia, like English speaking, because speak any other language fluently.
I would say we're going to tell them about the tour later. I would say if they do business with people that are doing business nationwide, then yes, I don't care where they're located. I just want to make sure that it's beneficial to them.
Right. No, absolutely. I just wasn't sure because I know there have been some communities for whatever reason. So, for example, where you and I first met, Pitch 59, that's US only right now. Like you can't be part of the Pitch 59, community. You can't be a member if you're outside of the US right now. Depending on when people are listening, that could have changed. So just FYI, y'all. We're recording this in fall. It's officially fall of 2024. So, at this point in time. So I just wanted to make sure because I do have international listeners who may be interested in becoming part of a US based connection community because
they're going to get their customers from the US. Then definitely. And now that you said that, I forgot I do have a member that's in England, but a lot of his customers are in the US, so it made sense for him.
Nice. Oh, that's good. Well, that's good to know. So let's jump into just networking 101 type thing because, you've done, you said what, 6,000?
4,000.
4,000 over 6 years. That's what it was.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah.
So 4,000 one-to-ones. Okay. I'm looking at if I pull up my BNI stats, I don't even have that many, I think, in my lifetime of my BNI membership. Let me see. My lifetime of one-to-ones is 1,439. Now,
it's because you have a business to run. You have a business to run, though.
I do have a business to run, but I do also network outside of BNI. So there are ones that are not counted in there because not everyone is in BNI, and that's okay. So, but what are some of the things that you've seen that are like, what is your number one no in networking? The one thing you see that you're like, please, your God, don't do this ever again if you're networking.
Why? There might be a few, but the very first thing that comes to mind is this is not a sales presentation. Do not sell your product on the first meeting. It's like meeting somebody in public and saying, hey, you want to get married? Right? I mean, you're asking them to open their wallet and they don't even know you.
Yeah.
At least give them the opportunity to get to know you. And I would say, if I was to pick out a second thing, is always let the other person speak first. Even if it takes the entire meeting, which I've had happen plenty of times, where they speak for the whole hour. But guess what? They needed that.
Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen the next time you get together?
They're going to go, oh,
they're way happy for you to share everything you have.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with that. And it's so funny because you can tell the veteran networkers, because there's always this, no, you go first. No, you go first.
No, you go.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm at the point now where I've done this so often that when I do this, I will say, okay, so tell me about you. Tell me about your business. Because I'm a high. I'm like, I'm happy to take control of a conversation. But I know there are people who aren't necessarily happy to do that. But then sometimes what will happen is, even though I took control of the conversation and said, hey, tell me about you, they're like, no, I want to know about you first. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight them over it.
Yeah, exactly.
I gave you the opportunity. So yes, what do you want to know about me? Because I could verbally vomit for years. So ask me questions and we'll go from there, right? I think that's a really important piece, because allowing them to go first comes from a giver's gain mentality, right? Because here's the thing, even if you want to turn it into a sales conversation, you can't effectively sell them if you know nothing about them.
Very true. Because the interesting is there's actually plenty of sales that happen on a one-to-one, but because they were actually curious about what you had. So another mistake I think people make when they're early on is they present their service and product directly to the person across the table from them or across the Zoom from them.
Yep.
You need to shoot over their head. Let me give you a couple numbers. The average person knows 200 people. The average networker knows 1,000 people, and the average super connector like myself knows 5,000 plus. So do you want to pitch me, or do you want to pitch my 5,000 people? Right?
100%. I want the people behind you. I want the keys to the kingdom. Right? And yes, I know I'll get that if I take care of the king, right?
That's right. That's right.
Or if I take care of the king or queen sitting and next to me, because I think that is a key thing. Like, one of the biggest complaints that I've had from networkers, an organization that I'm a part of locally here, is there are a couple of network marketers specifically, and I'm saying this because I want the audience to pay attention to this, who in their first conversation, their first sit down with somebody, immediately jumped into trying to sell that person to buy their stuff. And maybe even played a video.
Oh.
Like, I'm not. And I've had people ask me, like, can you have a conversation with them? Or like, can you ask them to have a conversation with me? Because do you know how bad it would look if I came to them and been like, hey, look, 700 people have told me you've got to stop doing this.
And you know that the new Zoom version is, can I share my screen?
Oh, you're not wrong. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So true. Yeah, I mean, really it should come down to, so when should somebody play the video?
You have to let them ask you.
Okay.
So like you can sum it up kind of at the end. So, hey, and I'll ask a very simple light ball question. So, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, is this something you're interested in, or was it just maybe something you want to be aware of? And if they're interested, they will tell you.
Yeah.
People will tell you. And so they'll either say, oh, yeah, you know what? I want to learn more about it. Great. Let's set another one-to-one. We'll go deeper into what I have. Do not pull out your stuff. It actually makes you look weak, too, because you have nothing going on in your schedule that you can sit there for 3 hours with that person. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so go,
my God.
Let's set another meeting. And then now you have the whole floor. They're coming there. They're prepared to hear what you have to say. All that type of stuff. So especially if it's network marketing, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because we get such a bad name, with that. So because of that reason.
Exactly. And so it's so funny because, anybody who's been listening knows I've partnered with a company and I don't share the video. I don't do that kind of stuff. I have conversations with people and they're like, wait, now tell me more about that. Like, I wait for them to ask me because I am not going to be the person who crams stuff down anybody's throat. No, right? But okay. My best friend and I used to have a podcast called Bad Girls on Business. And one of the questions we asked people was, and so I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
When it comes to marketing, or in this case, networking, Do you prefer seduction or domination as the marketer?
As the marketer, I guess
Yeah.
seduction. It sounds
Okay.
yeah, because it's like draw them in. Is that what you're saying? Like attractive
Well,
market?
it's really what is your preference, though? Because this was part of at the end of our episode, we would do these lightning round questions. And just because we wanted to get a feel for how, because there are some people who are like, no, I'm going to dominate. Like, with my marketing, I would say I dominate in the fact that if you look for Jennie Bellinger, if you go to Google, you're going to find me everywhere. Like, I dominate the first page of Google between my podcast, my Facebook feed, my LinkedIn, my BNI profile. Like, I have been creating content as myself and putting myself out there for years. If you look for me, trust me, you're going to find me, right? There are other Jennie Bellingers in the world, but they don't show up till page 2. Right? I've dominated the marketing for my name.
Got it.
Right? But when it comes to marketing for my programs, I would say I do more of the seduction side. Like, hey, do you have this problem?
Okay.
If you do, let's have a conversation, right? Like, it's not. So I think in that case, the reason that I asked that question of you is because in networking, domination is not usually seen as a good thing.
Definitely not. Okay, then I'm going to go. I guess I'm going to say, I guess I did say, but now I understand seduction for sure. Because we like to, maybe ask questions like, if I could show you a way to expand your network without leaving your office chair, would you be interested? Right? Or how would your business grow if you had a steady stream of pre-vetted, high-quality connections being delivered to you? Like things like that. Then that gets on, what is that all about? Right? Let's get them curious.
Right. So. I love that. Well, hopefully that's in your marketing.
I know, right?
Because, that should be driving people to you. So, all right. So we talked about the no-nos of networking. What is your favorite tip to give when it comes to networking? And let's start with the online version of networking, because that's how you and I met. That's how most people who are growing nationally and internationally are growing. What is your favorite online networking tip?
Well, have a good Zoom background. Don't show your laundry, right? I mean, just Google, how do I put on a Zoom background and make it look nice? I think that's one, because it's like, it's just distracting. All of a sudden, you're like in someone's bedroom, you're not doing business. So I would say number one, that. Number two, be listening how you can connect them. Yes. Right? Because if you can give, you can't outgive, right? You give, and that's that law of reciprocity just comes back to you, right?
Yeah.
So be thinking about who you can connect them with. And when you message them, if say you're in the Zoom, you mentioned, hey, I can connect you with somebody that can do that, or I can blah, blah, blah. Because I actually teach a course on this, which is how to become the connector in your own world, right? So be that connector, because you want the door, you want you to be in the middle of every conversation. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter what you do. You want your customers calling you and saying, do you know a plumber? Do you know a blank? Do you know a blank? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. Because now you're in the middle of that conversation.
Oh, for sure. And I can tell you, it is quite beneficial. I mean, I've been doing the networking thing for 14 years now. In February, I will have officially been a BNI member for 14 years at that point. And at this point, a lot of my friends in the St. Louis area, even if they're not in business, they are starting to get to the point where they're like, okay, wait, my air conditioning just went out. Let me call Jennie. Right?
And it sounds like they can Google you too. So
right. They totally could. Right. It's so funny that people who know me locally have no idea how big I am outside of the area. And it's really funny when they see me in an event and they're like, oh, that's interesting. But I think that being known as somebody who knows someone is beneficial, because then eventually I've helped enough people solve their other problems that when they get to the problem that I can help solve, who are they going to call?
Yes.
Hey,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
You know?
And they can even not know what you do totally. It's just the fact that you're a great resource for them. Like people don't want to Google anything anymore because you want to Google a plumber to come to your house, or rather ask your friend that knows the plumber. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's so true.
So I was going to throw in one more thing I really, really like is find something that you can leave an impression on somebody. So become a character of some sort. Okay. So what I mean by that is, so during COVID, we're not doing a video here, but during COVID, I started growing my beard and it got to be pretty long. Right. Yeah. And then I started wearing Carhartt shirts because they fit well. It was all by accident. Yeah. But when my lady took my headshot, I had the beard, I had the blue Carhartt. And so I went out and bought 6 more of these shirts because now it's my image. Right. Mm-hmm. And so find something. It could be, I've heard you do orange tennis shoes if you're in in-person groups. Wear a Santa hat. There's a guy out there that does debt elimination as the Santa hat, Daryl guy. Yeah. But you'll always remember them because they did something fun and interesting. And you'll never not know me because I got the Carhartt shirt on and the beard, right? But it's the same, that create something around that so you can be rememberable because faces wash away. They just do.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think, too, from that, people remember the story of it, right? They remember the thing. So, yeah, when you mentioned the guy with the Santa hat, right? I went, oh, I know exactly who you're talking about because I had an idea. I had a 50-50 shot of getting right who you were talking about. But given the fact that I know that we both have been in BNI.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. I was like, bet that's Daryl, the Southern Santa Claus. Right. I was guessing. The other option was a British Santa Claus that I know who networks online a lot. And I was like, how much fun is that? Like, I'm not even kidding you. I know 4 Santa Clauses.
Nice.
Like, seriously. You want anything in this life? I have 4 Santas. 4 of them.
I got you set.
Yeah. But it's those stories that you remember. And it makes when you have that character piece that is memorable. Because I'm trying to think who else I know, like in my network. Oh, the mortgage guy in my chapter. He's G Money.
There you go. That's beautiful. I love that.
Right? Because on the side, he DJs because he loves music. So he DJs for fun.
I love it.
G Money, right? Trying to think who else has something interesting. Like, I'm just trying to think of the different things.
I have a lady that did something very smart.
Oh, yeah?
She's called Your Mortgage Lady. No, My Mortgage Lady. She calls her, the name of her company is My Mortgage. So when you say it, you're like, that's Shelly. She's my mortgage lady. Super smart.
Super smart. I love that. Well, and I mean, that's why I created the whole BDSM persona for my podcast. Right? Because you want a vanilla conversation around business? Trust me, there's literally thousands of them out there. But how many of them are fun like this and have a BDSM theme? Like, I'm the direct sales dom, right? I have a writing crop at my desk. Okay?
Whoa. Woo!
I will pull it out at a networking event just because it gets people's attention. They're like, oh, she's that really interesting coach. Like, right? But it's memorable, right? And the badass comes along with it. So all of that was done with intentionality to be remembered because I know that not everybody has my stupid hue and trick of remembering people's names. So, I mean, I can remember names and I can remember, most people will be like, yeah, I remember you look familiar, but I can't remember your name. I can remember where we met. I can remember probably what you were wearing. Well, in your case, obviously, Carhartt, right? The blue Carhartt shirt, right? But other people, like Jane Moore, the first time I ever met her, Marketer's Cruise.
Oh.
Right?
Nice.
I remember what room we were in. Like, I just remember little things. Like, when someone impactful like that, not that I remember that about every human I've ever met ever, because that's a lot of stuff to retain. But I think having that iconic piece, because I think what kept bringing Jane back to me, or why she's stuck in my head, is because literally during the course of the week of the marketers cruise, I had 6, 7, 8 people say, wait, you do what? Have you met Jane War? And I'm like, no, you're like the first person who said, like, who is this Jane War? Right? And they were like, Bessie, she stayed at my house in July, So I think it's really important to have that piece. And for Jane, it's when she's out networking, she's wearing red.
Oh, okay. I've noticed that. And
Right.
all the selling on the spot is red too.
Yeah. Even in her virtual stuff, if she's networking, she's wearing red.
Wow. Huh,
right.
Very cool. And she's Jane the trainer.
Trainer Jane. Yeah, exactly.
Trainer Jane,
so she's got a moniker, which is also helpful because then people are like, wait, who is she? She's Trainer Jane. I can't remember her last name, but she's Trainer Jane. Well, you can find her on LinkedIn. You can find her on Facebook as Trainer Jane because it's so smart. So looking for something that will make someone make themselves stand out amongst all the people that they're networking with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And it has to be something you love because it has to be genuine, like your G Money guy, right? So if you say you like to garden and you like to organize and you like to do whatever, try to put something together with that, Yeah. Or you're the drywaller that loves to write music. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like people are going to remember that because they don't seem to go together, right?
Right.
And so, but pick the thing. Yeah, pick the thing that you actually do like, right?
Isn't it?
So.
Well, I would say then people probably know me more, even more than the badass and even more than the writing crop. People know me more for purple.
Oh, okay.
Because it's everywhere in my brand. It's like my whole house is not purple. I have a normal house. I don't have an all purple furniture. No, because other people live with me. I'm not the only one who lives here. But when you find me online, if you go search Jennie Bellinger
purple
on the Googs, like all the images, there's purple in even when I didn't have purple hair, I had a purple leather jacket in my so it's there, right? It's very obvious. So I think that's an important piece though, because that makes you memorable and makes it easy for people to stand out. So continuing on with let's see. I'm looking at okay. So now let's dig into the technology piece of this. So because obviously in the last 4 years, pre-global issues, let's just leave it at that. Pre-global issues. I don't care where y'all fall on it.
The great pause.
The great pause. There was a global thing that happened a few years ago. A lot of most networking was done in person.
Correct.
Those of us who can do business anywhere, we're starting to network virtually. But how has technology changed the networking game over time that you've seen, especially in the past 4 years?
Wow. Well, you can get a lot more. You could do a lot more meetings. I've now gone to doing about 100 meetings a month. So, and then
I think you might officially be beating me because.
And then I had to, and then it was too much. I did that for about 2 months, and it was too much. So don't do that. But what I found is people still get a ton of benefit if I started now doing 1 to 6s, and I saw you do 1 to 3s, right?
Yes, I do.
And so I just let that be and let them fill up as much as they're going to fill up, and it's so interesting to go on there, and most of those people end up being power partners with each other and stuff like that. So so the technology is nice because you could do, it's hard to get the 6 people maybe to go to like a coffee shop, but the virtual thing is so great. You could jump on from anywhere, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like I only do my meetings twice a day, 4 days a week. So I really only have 8 meeting slots, but I let people fill themselves in. But I read that in a book. Yeah. In order to do more, you got to do less. Right? Because I wasn't able to free my brain up because I was literally in a meeting all the time. And so I take less meetings now, but we're getting a lot more done. So
and I got the same thing. So for those of you who are listening and saying, what do you mean 1 to whatever? So on my Calendly, I have what's called a business connection event type. And it allows up to 3 other people book at the same time with me. And I'm a big believer that the universe puts the right people in the room. And it's so interesting to me who shows up at the same time.
So interesting. Yeah, I'm doing it now too. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
It's really cool to see. And so I don't do as many of those as you do. I'm not doing 2 a day, but because I do have a limit set to those for 1 a day, 3 times a week. So I can do as many as 3 of them in a week. But given the way my schedule has been the last month, I think I've done like 2. But it's really helpful though, because then I get to, first of all, you were talking about how beneficial it is to be seen as a connector, right? Well, how do you get seen as a connector? Well, if you have a multi-person networking event that people come to and you're the person facilitating it, you're the person putting it on and helping people through that process, that helps that piece that you talked about, to be seen as somebody who knows people, right? But it's just also cool because the side benefit to that is people don't show up and try and sell me their shit.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. They're not ever going, oh, you're right. Because it turns into more like a webinar type thing where, because like today we got on, there was 6 of us. And so everybody only gets like that 2 minutes, right? Because I want to be respectful. I got them in and out 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
If they want to stay on and ask more questions, they can, but so let's zoom it around. But so that's a good point. I
noticed that because I was like, man, the people who I expected to sell to me, try to sell to me, because it does happen. Because especially people in network marketing, they're like, you're in network marketing, she's going to want to join my team. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I'm super picky about that stuff, people. I got a life. I can't be in 17 different companies. Are you kidding me? But it's very interesting because then when other people in the room who may or may not be a good fit for that person's product or service, the benefit is then everybody shows up to connect. And I did call it business connection on purpose.
Right.
So I do find it to be very helpful in that, but then it also allows me to then factor through and figure through, okay, who do I want to go deeper with?
Yes.
Right. Because some people show up and I'm like, okay, I'm glad I only spent half an hour.
Yes, exactly. So I also want to throw out 10 people were booked for that call this morning and only 6 showed up. Okay. So what you also do is put yourself in the position that you don't ever waste your time.
Yeah.
Right. So if you allow them to book 6 slots or 5, maybe you just want to start out with doing 2 or 3 slots, fine, do that. But then you'll have one person cancel and then the other person's there. Great. Now you have a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just not wasting your time anymore because very seldom do they all cancel.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I can't think of a time when I've ever not had one of my business connection meetings go through because there was always at least one person. Now, if there was only one person who signed up, then sometimes those haven't happened. But when there's been multiple people, because the nice thing about Calendly is it lets me know when I look at my calendar, like 2 of 3 spots are filled. And I'm like, gonna have a meeting with somebody. We'll see who shows up.
Exactly.
Again, and I'm like you. I don't like my time wasted.
Well, as you get further down the road and you really become a professional at networking, you learn that time is the only thing you can't get back, right? Yeah. So just be mindful of your time and people will respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find too, what's interesting about using a scheduler the way you and I do is that when people see that they can't book with you like tomorrow, like there is nothing that drives me crazier than when I go to somebody's calendar and I can see 17 appointments available in the next 4 days. I'm like, are you really that good at what you do? Because you got a lot of time on your hands.
That's a good point.
I actually do workshops where I train people how to set up specifically an online Calendly because that's the one I know and I use. And I'm like, if you want to set up a Calendly, I'm your girl. I teach that workshop on how to do it. And one of the things I do is I tell people do not be available all the freaking time.
Don't they even have a little thing right now? You can switch it over and it'll eat up 20% of your calendar. There's a little thing on there now. At least on my calendar,
Oh,
it'll say look busy, and you click it and it'll like not
oh,
show all your time slots.
oh. I don't know if Calendly has that, but
Okay.
I know that for me, I don't have to click that
Yeah, there
because
you go.
I think the important piece is, I am networking and I do book time sometimes on other people's calendars. It's not always people booking through mine. So obviously there are time slots where I'm meeting with other people and that's on my calendar and that's what Calendly's checking against. So I don't have to look busy because let me tell you, I am, right? But I will
Right.
make time for people who I see value in continuing the relationship with. Not to say that not everybody is worth it. But my time, as you mentioned, my time Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is limited,
hmm
right? So
hmm
I am very mindful of who I'm meeting with and for how long and like where is this relationship going, right? How does this benefit everyone involved,
hmm
right?
Totally. Yep. Totally.
So, what are your plans with the connector community? How do you see this? Because it's 5 months old now and
Oh.
you've grown to almost 200 people. I bet by the time people listen to this, you're going to be over 200. What's your vision for this connector community?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So first off, numbers wise, we want to be at 1 million members inside of 5 years. And
Woo!
yeah,
I love a
so
big goal.
go big or go home, right? So I selected my coach. I haven't hired him yet, but I selected him because he said no problem when I told him that goal. He said, okay, no problem. Instead of giving me, well, why do you think that? And he just said, no problem. And then he wouldn't let me hire him, get to like 250 members because he said, I don't want you to fail, so you can't hire me until you get here.
Okay.
Plus, by the time I get there, I've worked out all the systems, or at least got a
Yes.
good idea of what they are, right?
Right.
So then we will bring in customer service type person. So we'll have business connectors. Those are your sales type people like me, but we'll have
Sure.
the other person that's not salesy. What they're looking to do is really connect with you, understand your business in and out, not only for you to get connections, but for to understand your product and connect you with people that need your service. So
Hmm.
imagine with me for a second if you had a place that you could just ask, I need a blank. You don't have to Google it or anything like that, and we do all the work and go find it. And when we come back
Whoa.
to you, we find you 3 or 4 or 5 already vetted people. You
Yeah.
can now just do your interview and pick one, knowing that they're most likely not going to jack you or take your money.
That is so awesome. Well, and
That's what we want.
I've already seen you do that, right? Because I can't remember if it was email or Facebook, probably Facebook in the Facebook community where you said, hey, looking for some social media
Mm-hmm.
managers, like
Yeah.
people who will go manage a business's social media. And I was like, I know some of those. And so I reached out and said, hey, I got a guy asking for someone like you. He's got a community of people who are looking for someone like you. Would you like to meet him? And guess what? Nobody said no.
Exactly, right?
Right.
Well, you
And
know
so I
what?
was able to make 3 connections for Phil.
Yeah, that's so, and thank you for that. But here's the crazy thing. You know what will never go away is people will need leads. Now, I don't want to say my members are leads, but in the sense that opportunities, we'll call them, you'll
Yeah.
always need that. So what we're really going to become is a lead generation or opportunity company through personal introductions, which is way more powerful than any lead generation company you can hire out there because when
Yeah.
they bring you a lead, that person's just filled out a form and you still have an uphill battle to
Yeah.
convince them to buy your service. We start at the bottom where you already have connection, they're already bought in. They're already
Right.
halfway bought in by the time they connect. So
Nice.
it's going to be really good.
And that kind of thing is super beneficial because I can tell you, even within the BNI network, there's a group of people in BNI, an exclusive inner club. Like it gets even more exclusive for those of you who are not in BNI. Yes, there's an exclusive inner club called the Gold Club, right?
Oh,
I know. And I'm a member of the Gold Club. And I remember hearing about the Gold Club before I was a member and going to one of the trainings where they just kind of mentioned it in passing at the end of each training is here's some other things that go on in BNI. Just be aware. These are some other things. And finally, I went to that training enough that I finally went, what is it? What's this gold club thing, right? What is it? And why do I want to be in it? Like, why would I want to shoot for it, right? And what it is it's BNI members who have sponsored 6 other people into the network.
Oh, they're bought in.
Right? So it's not just that they're bought in, but they are influential. They've invited enough qualified, quality people that 6 of them got selected into this network, right? I went, oh, that's interesting. And I asked the really, really important question, who's in it? And when they started telling me all the names of the people who were part of Gold Club, really interesting thing that I noticed happened in my brain. I went, wow, those are all the people that I love networking with anytime I run into them or set up a one-to-one. Like, these are the people who I have really great quality business conversations.
Yeah.
And I went, I think I want to be in the Gold Club. So then I started thinking through going, okay, how many people have, and at the time, I had 5. I was 1 off from being in. 2 weeks later, I inducted into the organization because I was like,
pulled somebody over with you.
I was like, I just put something out on Facebook. I said, hey, I'm looking for, some accountants who can help me with, tax information for network marketers. And a couple of accountants hopped in, and one of them came to the meeting and said, I want to join. I need to grow my network. And I was like, oh, freaking yeah. Like, I didn't have to convince him. I just asked the question, like, hey, I need someone who can answer these questions, blah, 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 right? And it worked out. But the benefit of that, to speak to what you're saying, is the quality of those types of conversations. I have literally gotten referrals from people in the Gold Club that by the time that person came to me, I didn't have to have a sales conversation. They said, I was talking to so-and-so. And by the end of the conversation, I knew I had to work with you. I just need to know which program I'm going into so I know which credit card to hand over so I know how much money is going out.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's
I
awesome.
didn't have to sell them. I just had to show up and be likable, ready to provide the service that they needed. Because this person was like, oh my God, you need Jennie Bellinger. Like, and they knew me, knew my business so well, and had the right influence and had the right sales skills to be able to do that. I'm like, I need to network with one of those people right there.
That's right.
Right. So I think that's a really important piece of the connector community, is the fact that, yeah, you're making valuable connections because, oh my God, you connected me to Julie Hayner.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic connection, by the way. Name dropping, because she got me in with Dennis.
Okay.
Huge. You had no idea where that's going, but man, we are going to be thanking you for a long time because we're all right. It's little things like that, because I regularly hear from people who are like, oh my God, thank you for introducing me to so-and-so. I'm like, oh, cool. I told this.
I know, right? You forget because you do so, especially when it's your business, right? You do so many of them.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure you're like, wait, when did I do that? Who, how, what?
I ask people when they come on the tour now. So if you could put in the chat who introduced us, that'd be great.
Right. Yeah.
And it's very powerful. It's very powerful because when all of them came from a different person, then everybody's going, wait a minute, this might be something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or even if it's 2 or 3 names show up multiple times.
Sure.
Oh, we have some influential people in here who have a network, right? Like that's a good thing, right? So you and I could continue talking for
right.
But what I want to do, Phil, is give people the opportunity to learn more about the connector community directly from you. So you have an opportunity for the Badass Crew to be able to check out the connector community. How? Why? Like, tell us about this opportunity.
Well, there's going to be a link that we're going to put down there, and you'll register for one of our tours, and there'll be 1 to 6 people on there. And we'll basically all just share a story. You get to meet those people, and then I'll show you what the connector community is about. And if it's for you, great. If it's not, great. That's the great thing about what we're creating here is there's no pressure whatsoever, because we don't want anybody in here that doesn't want to be here because they won't take the introductions.
Right.
So think about that as the people that are joining actually want to connect, actually want to be that's why I call them the cream of the crop, right? These are the people that are ready. They want to connect, they want to grow their audience. So yeah, so there's no hard pressure, there's no pressure whatsoever. Come take a look, meet me, see what it's all about. Love if you want to connect with me, or we're going to do that later, but if oh yeah, so
no, that's okay. This is the perfect time to discuss that, right?
Probably
because
easiest way to reach out, just mention that you heard me on the Badass Director or Badass Sales Mastery or Jennie Bellinger, and just go to Facebook Messenger. Makes it super simple.
Cool.
Fill the connector. You'll see the beard and the Carhartt shirt, blue. That's me.
Love it. Okay, well, I am currently highlighting this in my CRM here, so that way my team knows it. This is the one, the Facebook, like connect with Phil Herrington on Facebook if you would like more information. And of course, if you want to take a virtual tour, which he's just showing off what the connector community is, who are some of the people who are in the community, so you can see if this is something that is a fit for you. I think if you are someone who can do business anywhere in the U.S., in North America, in the world, this is something to check out, because literally, y'all, if you've been listening for any amount of time, you know, if you're in network marketing, 50% of your job is to network. It's in the title, network marketing. 50% of your job is to build your network, meet more people. If you've listened to the show and you remember hearing from Lisa Wilbur, the lady who said the lady with blue hair, when enough people know what you do, you can't help but be successful. Right?
So true.
This is a great place to do that. I'm already connecting with people. I've been a member of the community for like a week, and I'm already like, Phil, if I meet no one else, the people that I got introduced to through the connector community, mic drop.
Nice.
Mic drop. I've made my money's worth in the first week. This is so worth it. So, by the way, if y'all want to network with Jennie Bellinger and you don't want to join BNI or can't join BNI or whatever it is, I'm in the connector community. Come network with me here. I'm in the group, y'all. So, Bill,
see, we even let Jennie in.
I know. If I can get in, anybody can get in. Trust me, right? No, I think this is really just a fantastic opportunity, because it also seems to me like it's a great learning place that people who maybe aren't yet comfortable with networking online or meeting people online, this is a group of welcoming individuals, because everyone I've met through the connector community so far has been warm and wonderful. So it's been a fantastic opportunity to meet some new people who I feel aligned with values-wise, right? So I think this is a great opportunity. So, Badass Crew, you guys know, if you want the link to set up your tour, your virtual tour of the connector community, just go to the show notes, the episode notes, right down below Phil's picture. Yes, we got a picture of Phil in his blue Carhartt shirt. Don't worry, just grab your phone as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode and scroll under his picture, and you will see the link there to book your tour. Now, if you're on YouTube, it's under the video.
And then remember, there's a place that says, how did you hear about us? Make sure you put in Jennie Bellinger or Badass Directory, however you want to put it, so we know it's her, because we pay a 33% residual income for people that join our community.
Oh, there you go.
I know you guys like residual.
I know, right? But I'm not And I want to point out to the audience, I'm not doing this because of the affiliate. I'm doing this because could be beneficial for you and your business. And if you see the benefit, then you should be in the group.
Yeah.
Right? Yay, if I get paid. Absolutely. Hallelujah. I'm not going to say no. Thank you, universe. Yes, and more, please. But I'm not doing this because of that. I'm doing this because it's beneficial. I don't have people on the show unless I believe that they are going to provide value to you as the listener. So that's why I brought Phil on here to talk about networking do's and don'ts and to talk about the connector community as an opportunity for people to grow their network in a very intentional, purposeful way. Phil, thank you for your time being here as the founder of the connector community. I so appreciate you.
All right. That's awesome. And co-founder. My wife is the other founder.
Oh, yes. Co-founder. Sorry.
She makes sure I say that.
Oh, absolutely, Mrs. Herrington. Thank you for sharing him with the world. We truly appreciate you. So, Phil, thank you for being, how about the face of the connector community? Thank
there we
you
go.
for
The
being
face.
here.
We'll do that.
I like it. Our wonderful Santa Claus face here. All right. And badass crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.